What's up, everybody? Welcome to the CanesInSight Daily Podcast powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. It is my favorite day of the week. It is my favorite time of the year. At least this year it is. Usually it is a depressing, humiliating month of November, but now we're in the center of the college football world, and we are ready to win on Saturday decisively. I am here with the colorfully dressed Mike Ryan, who is on the front lines of the national media fighting for the Miami Hurricanes. Mike, give us a dispatch from the front lines here.
I'm sorry about the flood of tweets, but this crap matters. You know, I'm happy that we had the opportunity to have a month's worth of looking right on the field. That's the most important thing. But you're up against huge propaganda machines in the Big Ten and the SEC. If Miami dropped their second game last week of the season, I don't think they'd have a snowball's chance in hell, quite honestly. But it really is flooding the zone, and you have to exhaust people, because the unfortunate part of all this is, at least for the time being, we've decided that this doesn't get settled on the field. This gets settled in a back room with a bunch of bureaucrats that are hugely flawed and impressionable. So you up the ante. You really amplify your team's argument, and you go down swinging. I don't want to not make the argument. I actually feel like this was a really good week for Miami. Yep. I think that we made progress with our arguments. The most time spent on that CFP, that asinine CFP show, was spent on Miami and Notre Dame's head-to-head. And I think that that's a good place to be in, with 2 regular season games left in the season for Miami. And now the ball's in their court. Hope to God they don't embarrass us because we put ourselves out there. But it's working, I think.
Pete, hop in. Get in there.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. So we got this guy in the chat who says he's a Utah fan. It says Utah Jim 69. You know, Utah Jim 69. I'm not believing this is a real account.
No,
I don't believe 69 is allowed in the state of Utah. I don't think that's
it's felonious.
I don't think it's a legal position. Although there is a phenomenon I learned about. There's a show called like Mormon Housewives. It's called soft swinging, where these Mormons, they get together and they share wives, but they're not allowed to go all the way. They can heavy pet, but they can't go all the way. So it's called soft swinging. Google it. It's 100% true. So I don't know if 69 is permissible in the soft swinging Mormon culture. We'll have to ask Utah Jim to clarify, although I suspect that he is a troll and not an actual Utah fan.
I would agree with that. There's you'll be happy, Utah Jim 69, whoever you are. There's going to be plenty of Utah discourse on this show. Hey, let's give a shout out to the Elite Pop subs as you and I are continuing to digest those chopped cheese sandwiches. And Pete, what did you have from Pops?
I had a honey mustard chicken Philly.
Ooh,
yeah, delicious.
I should
delicious.
try that.
Yeah, salad, I should say.
Okay.
So over a nice bed of lettuce, just hit the spot, man.
You're looking good, Pete.
I'm trying. Thank you.
Love you, bright
Thank
eyes.
you, man.
It had some bad. A veggie sub was fantastic, but you know, our guy Patrick, he always presents himself as a blue collar, you know, Cuban from Buffalo, right? The blue collar guy. Then we ask him how he's going to the Virginia Tech game.
Part of the elite.
He's flying first class, asking for Grey Poupon from the stewardess.
Yeah.
You know, so Pops, Patrick, I know that I know there's an image out there. I don't want to ruin the image, but you're selling a lot of subs. There's a line out the door with celebrities, with dignitaries from the community, football players. So the place to be is Pop Subs. Shout out to Patrick.
And shout out to all the people in the main cabin. I'll see you there on that one direct. It's a pit. Non-refundable, boys. That's right. We're not looking ahead. We're not looking over Virginia Tech. We just have that much confidence in this team that traditionally always has a late season November collapse. So let's do it. Let's dive in.
Ready?
Yeah.
Right,
all right. So I saved a lot of my Miami Notre Dame passion for this show, but let's begin with the bottom of the CFP, where I knew Miami was kind of cooked, even though I do think it was, on the whole, a good CFP for Miami, but we can't let them know that because we got to continue fighting the good fight. Let's begin with number 25, Arizona State. As soon as you saw that Sun Devil logo there, you knew what they were trying to do. Pete, you know what they're trying to do? You have your eyes open.
What are they trying to do?
D-Money, do you know what they're trying to do?
Maybe trying to manufacture some quality wins.
Maybe. maybe trying to manufacture quality wins. Last year, when quality wins was the emphasis of the committee, that was a thing. That was a mission statement from the committee.
Yep.
Quality wins, not quality losses. A year changes, and so does the emphasis, apparently. The criteria is, this will be a common thread. The criteria doesn't exactly have many consistencies in it. Last year, the argument against Miami was, you don't have any ranked wins, right? Even though I think Duke had the best record in the last 20 years for a team that finished unranked outside of the top 25. Louisville lost their games all by one score, went to South Bend, Indiana, by the way, and lost in a one-score game against a team that ended up being a very good Notre Dame team, national runner-up. They were gatekeepers, and even though you can make an argument Miami has wins over the 26th and 27th teams in the nation, they don't have the ranked wins because we stopped the rankings at 25. If you look at the AP poll, Arizona State is behind both SMU and Louisville in others receiving votes. In the coaches poll, Louisville is just behind Arizona State, and Arizona State is behind SMU. The only poll that Arizona State is ranked in is the college football playoff poll, which just added Utah's athletic director to the committee last week. This 25th ranked Arizona State team represents the best win that Utah has, a team that is directly ahead of Miami. Where you see how this argument is manufactured, they're completely in control of this. Let's talk about Utah. I'm happy to see that Miami left Vanderbilt. I presume that's on merit, but we'll see after Vanderbilt participates in a football game this week. They were off last week. I'm old enough to remember last year when Miami was on a bye and got jumped over by Alabama after they took down powerhouse Mercer. So let's put Vanderbilt off to the side for now. Utah, we've been at this one before. There is no reason on God's green earth why Utah should be ranked ahead of Miami. Utah Gym 69, I'm sorry to tell you this, your best win was over Jeff Sims at quarterback. And I've watched Jeff Sims. He's been playing in college football for 10 years. That dude sucks.
Sure does.
Now, I know he made some sort of rushing record this season. That is a team that was a CFP team last year. The reason why Utah beat Arizona State was because Sam Leavitt wasn't playing quarterback and Jeff Sims was. Utah got throttled by Texas Tech. Now, yeah, they have very good losses. Okay. Let's look at BYU. Why the hell is BYU behind Notre Dame then? If quality losses is the argument that they're holding against Miami, they're saying the quality losses that Notre Dame has are that much better than Miami, so good that we bypass head-to-head. Okay, if that's the argument, why the hell is BYU behind Notre Dame? They've got one loss, and it's to Texas Tech, who is ranked higher than both Notre Dame and Miami. Well, this was the argument Dan Le Batard made on our show today. But they got spanked in that game by Texas Tech, Mike. That loss was so bad that it basically counts as two losses, and that's why Notre Dame's ahead of them. Okay, I get it. So the criteria is getting spanked by Texas Tech really affects you. I ask you again, why is Utah ahead of Miami? If that is something you hold against BYU, which is a one-loss team. We could go on and on. There is a lot of hypocrisies, but I'm rambling and I'm hogging the ball right now. I know I'm not the only one fired up. I'm not telling you what to think. I'm just holding your nose straight to it and say, none of this makes sense.
I'm not even fired up, man. I am calm as a cucumber. My only focus is Miami taking care of its business. I've seen this story so many times. Mike, how many times we watch old professional wrestling, right? Mm-hmm. We dabble in some professional wrestling viewing.
This is wrestling.
How often, when the guy in the suit tells the face that you're not going to get a title shot, does he ever not get the title shot at the end of the day?
No, there's always some convoluted way to get in. A Royal Rumble, Money in the Bank, some kind of path.
You're the number one entrant. The only way you get is win the Rumble.
Or he kidnaps someone that's married to the family and he says, you give me this match. And that is somehow legal in the world of professional wrestling.
It always happens. So to me, this is all just a setup for Miami to prove itself. Because look, if Miami loses, then everybody kind of laughs like you guys were
Yeah.
get mad at us.
I'll be the first one to say I'm a joke. I'll be borrowing Peter Ruiz's clown nose.
So
You got to take it from Manny Diaz right now because it's on him right now.
So I am as calm as can be, aside from the fact that I'm worried about us playing well because we haven't done it for 20 years at this time. I think we are going to. I think the team is focused. Everything I've heard is outstanding. I think we're getting healthier, but got to do it.
Mhm.
But once you get to that 10th win, if you get there, you still have a week before the rankings come out. I think you have like 8 days before the rankings come out.
And I'm a little worried about that week, honestly.
It's going to be all systems go at that point. If you have 10 wins on your resume, it's
All
going to
systems go in terms of propaganda machine. Is that what you're
in
saying?
terms of propaganda. Like
That's why we had to start our incursion 2 weeks ago.
you know, and it was important for you guys who are not propaganda ministers by trade to get involved because you guys are straight shooters. I am always on the propaganda tip. So this is nothing new, but it's just about timing to me. You're laying the groundwork. You're setting the mines. You're laying the mines in the field. And then once you get that 10th win, that's when the offensive takes place. And if they come after us, those mines are already laid. It's going to be one after the other dropping. Pretty much everybody's already on our side. So I don't know how much is going on. It's more just putting pressure on these bureaucrats because someone who's been around bureaucrats in my career and just observing them, they will always take the easy way out. That is the one thing you could take to the bank with bureaucrats and with useless people like the committee. They will always take the path of least resistance. And when the whole country is saying Miami should be in and Miami has 10 wins, they're going to just say, all right, you win. Miami's in. And they'll find an excuse. Utah, sucks. They have no quality wins. BYU, they'll find a way to get us in. It's about making that decision easy for the committee and making it hard for them to say no. And I think that's what these next 2 weeks are about.
At what point in Notre Dame's season did everyone say, okay, this Notre Dame team figured out what was plaguing them defensively? I think the narrative kind of shifted pretty quickly. 1-2 games. Yeah. All right, Notre Dame's here. They figured it out. That's unafforded to Miami. Miami's looked really good for 2 weeks. Have the argument that you're playing your best football at the end of the season. Miami takes care of that. Let's shift our focus back to the easiest one of the debates, which is Notre Dame versus Miami. Plain and simple, Miami played them and beat them. But apparently that is not being all that considered. So what the CFP chair said, Juracek, boy, was that guy a disaster yesterday.
Sweating.
Let's hit pause on Miami Notre Dame. The CFP has a huge problem with their spokesperson, this chair. And I know it's not the job he necessarily signed up for. He wasn't the guy at the beginning. But if this is a made-for-television product in which you're supposed to speak with conviction and lay out arguments convincingly to let the people know this makes sense, and we have a hard criteria here that is, it is very easy to understand. This guy made their life so much more difficult by having hypocrisy after hypocrisy, by having the conviction of a whore in church. Like, this guy was lost. Deer in headlights, made 0 sense. Oregon's win against Penn State, we still hold that in high regard because of who Penn State was at the time. Virginia's loss to Louisville, you can't ignore what's happened to Louisville since that game. What are we talking about? Are you even aware of the words that you're saying, my man? That guy cannot see the cameras again. He is absolutely disintegrating any thought of integrity this CFP might have. Back to Miami Notre Dame, because what he said
I want
was,
to stay on this guy real quick.
Hunter Juracek?
Yeah, so I found a picture of this guy.
LG.
When he was getting interviewed. So his perspiration reminded me of my boy LV from Gangster's Paradise right here. This is my guy answering the questions, sweating beads all over the place, just trying to answer basic questions about his job, which he was supposed to be prepared to do. So if they're sweating on November 18th, can you imagine when you're talking about a 10-2 team and the whole country is coming on your neck? Ooh, that came out wrong. That has to be pretty good for this guy.
Whoa.
Anyways, the whole country's gonna be coming after his neck, and he's gonna be sweating like my man LV. So
he said Miami and Notre Dame are in different tiers. He made it seem like there's a lot of different tiers, and there's quite a wide margin in tiers between where Miami is and and Notre Dame is. We just all accepted that. There's this crazy distance between Miami and Notre Dame. There are 3 GD teams between them. Like, what is the tipping point if it's not 3? Is it 2 teams where you consider head to head? Is it 1? What? Like, he actually said that they are separated by so many teams that they're in separate tiers. That's right, folks. Miami's win over Notre Dame gets them in a lower tier than Notre Dame's loss to Miami. Makes sense of it. And again, quality loss, and there is a place in this world for the quality loss argument, no doubt. Alabama has a terrible loss. Okay? I think it should be behind quality wins in the discussion. But when you're talking about things like SAG rating, strength of schedule, strength of record, quality wins, quality loss, those are all tiebreakers in the event you don't have a head-to-head matchup. This was an earlier criteria established by the CFP. Do you realize why there's a CFP to begin with? It's because there was a BCS system that had FSU in over Miami, and everyone was rightfully pissed off because Miami beat FSU and said, we can't trust these friggin' computers. We need to get the humans in there because they know how to absolutely consider a head-to-head matchup as a primary tiebreaker. And yet, here we are, 20-some-odd years later, and we're repeating the sins of the past. All of this is crazy. None of this makes sense. And if Notre Dame is ahead of Alabama, because Alabama's loss, this is what they said, Alabama's loss to FSU was so bad. You know what another tiebreaker is right below head-to-head matchups? Common opponents. If that loss was so bad to FSU, a team that Miami handled easily, if you watch that game, then Miami, by that argument, should be ahead of the team that is ahead of Alabama because they beat the team that is ahead of Alabama and they have a common opponent in FSU. Look, I'm not here to tell you Notre Dame should not be in this college football playoff. I agree. Notre Dame does look like a different team. They've been playing crap teams, but whatever. They've improved with their young quarterback. I get it. They're a good team. I'd love to see the rematch. If you want to argue Notre Dame would win a rematch, okay. Can't wait to see it on the field. Notre Dame is a playoff team. But if Notre Dame is a playoff team, so is Miami. And not just sneaking into the field over Notre Dame. Peter?
That's my name.
What do you think? I just did the Legion of Doom. Tell him, Hawk.
I quite frankly don't know that any of this matters. I mean, I don't know that it's going to come down to Miami and Notre Dame. As I said, D and I did a show on Monday, and I was pretty strong in my belief that they're going to do whatever they want to do to justify having Notre Dame ahead of Miami and having them 3 spots ahead of Miami so that they can avoid this conversation. And when that conversation comes up, it's not going to matter as much as they say it's going to matter. Honestly, my opinion is I think we're wasting our time even putting all this propaganda out there.
No, we're not wasting our time.
We need to win these 2 games. We need to go get to 10, and we need to hope other teams lose in front of us.
I hear you.
That's
yes,
literally the
100%.
only way that they get in here.
100%.
It's not going to happen without multiple teams losing in front of Miami here. And I think it's a waste of our time and energy to keep discussing like the system wants Miami in there. They've shown that they don't want Miami in there.
Disagree.
They show what they think
more.
of Miami. I'm sorry.
Let's
just
more,
go win
Peter.
10 games and
History.
I was shocked the show was able to go on today because of the energy that's been put forth in the propaganda efforts. Let's just go win our 2 games and let the chaos happen in front of us.
No, if we just won our 2 games and we didn't fight like hell, I don't think we get in. I think you're seeing.
I don't think any of this matters.
Okay,
I don't think
you're
care.
You're entitled to that, but I think it very clearly matters.
I don't think they care.
Miami is dominating the conversation right now, and it's because Miami is forcing that conversation to be had, pulling every media lever it can, because what you're seeing is pure insanity. Let me live in that space where people are exhausted. I don't care. I don't care how we get in there. War doesn't decide who's right, Peter. War decides who's left.
It's not going to matter. They're not going to put us in. It's going to be Miami and Notre Dame, or it's going to be Notre Dame and not Miami. It's not going to be Miami over Notre Dame. It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. I'm sorry.
Where are you on this, D-Money? I think it matters.
Oh, no, if you watch Monday's show, we were very on opposite sides of this.
I think it's good to lay the groundwork. I think it's going to be a push. I agree somewhat with Pete that you have a space between the 10th win, if you get there, and then the playoffs. So that's where I'm going balls to the wall, because I think a lot of people on that committee and in the media just don't expect us to win the last two. I myself am nervous just from all these years. So,
I get that.
So I think that's a bigger part of this than people think. And that's why the committee puts us here or there. Because like if we lose and we drop, who cares? They don't have to have that argument. You know, at least they thought they didn't. It's been put to their desk, but maybe they're trying to avoid it.
Part of what bothers me is how much they take into account preseason rankings too, because
Sometimes
they see these losses to Louisville and SMU and they think that's validation. So we were actually right in ranking Miami so low. What is the tipping point for Miami when their performances over the last 2 weeks and hopefully week 3 and 4 in the vaunted go 4-0 speech of a couple of weeks ago?
Yep.
At what point do you say that was a midseason hiccup and this is who Miami is? Because Miami has looked different. Sure, they played Syracuse. Sure, the media would have you believe NC State is a terrible team and not a team that put up 48 points on a top 10 team the last time they saw the field. Boggling to me. NC State represents both Notre Dame and Miami's third best win.
I would say it's lower on our list.
You have Florida being a better win?
We just said preseason rankings. I know Oregon's getting credit for beating Penn State, who sucks. Florida's actually beaten and played hard against some real teams. They have some talent. So
they beat Texas.
I mean, FSU beat the living piss out of Alabama, who was supposed to be one of the top 10 teams in the country. So USF is a team that has been on the fringes of this playoff
tough
race.
hiccup.
Yeah, that was a tough hiccup.
That one's bad.
But this whole quality loss thing, I have a much different definition of quality loss when I look at Alabama got smoked by FSU. It wasn't even as close as the score. Could have been a 3-4 touchdown defeat. That's a bad loss. Bad loss. You look at the BYUs and Utah's getting smoked by Texas Tech. I mean, look, Texas Tech's improved this year. They went and bought players from real conferences, but Texas Tech is not great. I would love for Miami to play Texas Tech in the playoffs. I'd bet my house on it. But they destroyed two of these teams, destroyed by more than 3 touchdowns. So what is a quality loss? Those to me are not quality losses because Texas Tech is considered good. Those to me are embarrassing losses because you got your ass kicked. Same with FSU against Alabama. Miami lost 2 close games that they could have won. One was in overtime. One was like on a drive to win the game.
That they beat themselves on.
It happens every college football season. That to me, I don't say quality loss, but it's certainly not a bad loss. A bad loss is Alabama FSU. A bad loss is BYU against Texas Tech, Utah against Texas Tech. Those are bad
I agree.
losses.
That has bothered me because I've had to sit idly by and take on the chin that Miami lost 2 games to bad football teams. Those are bad losses. This is described as bad losses. 2 7-win teams. One team that made it to the CFP last year.
Yeah.
One team that, like Miami, hasn't lost a game by more than a score in 2 years in Louisville. These are bad losses. Teams that honestly should be ranked. Here's one thing to keep an eye out for next week. Given what I'm worried about with we highlighted Arizona State, Tennessee and Mizzou is another situation there where make the argument for me why either of those 2 teams are ranked. The argument, I'll tell you, is to add to the bona fides of someone that is ranked higher in the CFP. Tennessee and Mizzou are winless against teams in the FBS that are over 500. Neither of them have defeated it. I'm going to say that again. Neither of them have defeated an FBS team that has a better than 500 record, and they find themselves ranked. Why? Because it helps others by saying they're ranked. Look, they got a ranked victory over this team. Here's what I'm worried about. Here's what I'm very curious about. We already highlighted that SMU and Louisville are others receiving votes. They're right there. They are right there in terms of being ranked. Those 2 teams play each other. Watch them not rank the winner. Watch them not rank the winner. That to me, I will be glued to number 25, 24, and 23 on that CFP show next week. Because if they have the balls to not rank the winner of that game, you know the goose is cooked for Miami. You just know it.
And I'll say also, Oklahoma's sitting there, number 8? Oklahoma has one of the worst offenses of anyone on this list. Probably the worst offense of anyone on this list.
I think they belong there, dude.
You what?
I think Oklahoma belongs here, though.
I mean, I don't think Oklahoma's that good. And I think what's going to happen is when you have a bad offense, which, by the way, Miami was penalized by the committee for an inconsistent offense. Our offense is significantly better than Oklahoma by any measure you want to use.
They always apply the context of Mateer's injury. It's funny. They apply that context and not the context of they freaking stole a game against Auburn. Criminally. That game was rigged. They stole that game against Auburn.
Oh, wait, can we stop lying about John Mateer? Like, let's stop lying about this guy. He's got 8 touchdowns and 7 picks. He's averaging, what's he averaging per attempt? 7.2 yards per attempt.
Yeah, he's playing hurt.
Can we stop lying about him? He plays hurt because he runs around like an idiot. Mm-hmm. John Mateer is not that good. Maybe he will be good in the future, but as we sit here today, John Mateer is nothing special.
That was a tough result for Miami. Watching Oklahoma win that game. I'm hopeful that they will.
When you have a bad offense, we had an inconsistent offense, not even a bad offense, but when you have a bad offense, even no matter how good your defense is, you're going to be in these tight games and you're going to lose some because the ball is going to bounce the wrong way. They'll make some good calls on a final drive. You won't have the ball, whatever it is. They got to play 2 decent teams that are capable of beating them. Talk about Oklahoma. They got to play Mizzou and then they got to play LSU. Hopefully Nussmeier gets healthy, so at least we get a chance to get him in that game.
I don't think I want Nussmeier out there.
Maybe Van Buren's playing all right.
I'd rather have Van Buren out there. A guy trying to show off his skill set and say he deserves that job. I've seen enough of Big Nuss. I don't think that team's going to rally around him. I like what Van Buren was doing. I want to see Van Buren out there.
Yeah, so either way, they're going to get a chance because Oklahoma's offense is not very good against those. And those are real defenses with real players. Brandon's saying, do you want Mateer? I thought Mateer was very talented. I think he still has a chance to be good. But I think we rushed to say this guy was good. When you look at the stats, ever since he got into SEC play, he has been, quite frankly, bad. I mean, Alabama, we give him credit for the win. He had 138 yards, ran for 23.
Yeah. Oklahoma kind of stole that game, dude. And that's unfortunate for Miami. I do think that Oklahoma could lose this week. We highlighted Mizzou. Mizzou needs a signature victory this season. Eli Drinkwitz has built a good program over there. They've had unfortunate injuries. That Alabama game was really frustrating to watch, to see how scared when they had their QB1 out there, how off he was in that game. That game was there for the taking. I actually don't think Alabama's that good. I maintain the SEC is just the ACC with a better publicist. Yep. And it's crazy how bottom-feeding FSU dominating Alabama doesn't figure into that conversation. Let me throw another hypothetical at both you and Peter.
Throw it.
We all hope that Pittsburgh beats Georgia Tech. Why? It keeps Miami alive in the ACC, which is a thing. You have to worry about Georgia Tech having one less loss and the opportunities to improve their resume the following weeks against Georgia and then an ACC championship game. And you want a victory over Pitt. Maybe Pitt becomes ranked if they beat Georgia Tech. It serves all the parties. What happens to the SEC ACC narrative if Pitt beats Georgia Tech and the following week Georgia Tech beats Georgia? Now, before you tell me I'm crazy for saying that, remember Black Friday last year where Georgia Tech had a game stolen against UGA, an overtime game.
I wouldn't say that. They had a tremendous leader and quarterback who snatched that thing from them.
No, Carson Beck played brilliantly in that game. It was a clean game, and Carson Beck actually got injured in that game. Carson Beck was phenomenal in that game. But if you remember the calls, the non-calls in that game, like Georgia Tech got promptly screwed, and it ended up impacting Miami's chances in the CFP because Miami lost to Georgia Tech. And here you have a team that is presumably a bad loss for Miami beating the creme de la creme of the SEC. What happens this year if Georgia Tech drops it to Pitt and then the following week in a neutral site, even though it's in Atlanta, Mercedes-Benz Stadium, will probably be pro UGA, beats UGA? What then? That, my friend, is a chaos scenario that no one wants to talk about.
Ole Miss, their coach is potentially leaving the program based on all reports that we're seeing. So how does that factor in? If he leaves in the middle of the season, he's their play caller. I mean, I saw us in a projected playoff against Ole Miss. Obviously, you just want to be in the playoff any way you can.
I saw an advanced line on that had Miami a 3.5 point dog.
I would bet everything I own on Miami in that game.
Yeah.
Ole Miss is not very good. Lane's done a very good job with
Bad
them, I got to
defense.
say.
What?
Ole Miss, they're not that good. Lane's did a great job with them.
I think Ole Miss is good, but they are flawed, and Miami can beat them.
I mean, they have good back.
Yeah, Miami can beat them.
They're okay.
It wouldn't be an upset in my mind. It's an upset only in the
I
lines.
wouldn't bet everything I owned on
No, I wouldn't bet it. No, because
Trinidad Chambliss with Messidor and Bain chasing him, I feel pretty good about
the
that.
thought exercise you want to do is what happens if Lane leaves. Say Lane leaves and goes to Florida this week. Does he leave the program at Ole Miss? Does he stay and see the mission out? I find it hard to believe he would leave the program entirely and not see this mission out with his men over at Oxford. But let's just say he goes and concentrates on this move to Gainesville, builds out his staff, and hits the recruiting trail. Unlikely as it may be. You have the Egg Bowl. If they lose that Egg Bowl, you have an Ole Miss team that just lost to a mid-Mississippi State team.
Get him out.
They are their identity is as tied to their head coach as any team in the nation in terms of what do you attribute their success to. That is an interesting discussion, especially if they don't have an opportunity to play for an SEC championship because of the Jordan Travis criteria that they established a couple of years ago. I feel like Lane leaving Charlie Weiss Jr., I guess, in his place, but Charlie Weiss Jr. that would then have lost to Mississippi State, you'd have your doubts about where do we rank this team. I think they'd certainly lose the home game that everybody's projecting them to have, Pete. You agree with that? Okay. So you're not chewing on any of these topics. You're very much, let's make history. Let's win back-to-back 10-win seasons.
We can't be concerned with this stuff. The committee's
be.
already
Well, we
said.
can. The team can't.
No,
we ourselves can't.
No, I need the team to consider this because my reputation matters. They better not embarrass me.
I think that we're putting way too much faith in the committee to make certain decisions based on logic. So all we can do is hope that like some of these teams in front of us lose, that we don't expect to lose games in, that propel Miami there. It's not going to we know that there's going to be 5 SEC teams in there. We know that
we don't know that.
We don't know that. I don't think there's 5 if Georgia Tech makes CFP.
I don't know what we're getting ourselves worked up about. I want to get worked up about 10 wins in a row. I want to get worked up about we need better than the 15th talent in the country that we have right now. Let's go keep recruiting. That's what I want to get worked up about. This stuff is out of my control. This stuff is out of your control. It's out of your control. We have nothing to do with this. The college playoff committee is going to decide under whatever rules or reasons or whatever reason they want to do certain things. They're going to make things up, and they're going to do it because they've already put their opinion out there. I mean, I just don't see how we get in unless chaos happens.
Well, the reason why I'm getting worked up is the team that I saw on Saturday that dominated NC State is a team that I think if they got into the college football playoff has a decent shot. And I'm not willing to go to bed at night saying I didn't do my part with a team that has a ceiling that shows that has been displayed for the world to see against the likes of Notre Dame. So no, I hear you, but I am going to worry about this. And am I worried about them going 2-0 in the next 2 weeks? Bet your ass I am. But I also got a non-refundable trip to Pittsburgh on my credit card. And I'm going to be there because, hey, at the very least, I'm making history.
Yes.
This team needs to do what it has to do to get into the CFP, yes, but to check all the boxes that you're saying. I think it's hugely important to show the world that Miami can be a consistent winner because right now, I think a lot of the scrutiny that Miami is facing, a lot of the skepticism is, we don't believe you're for real. We think you're a joke. We don't think you're here to stay. We think you're fool's gold. If you consistently win 10 games and you thus elevate your conference in doing so, that matters maybe the next time we find ourselves here.
D-Train.
Oh, you're going to need some medication, my friend. You're going to need some medication.
Just seeing Pete courtside next to the Stoops makes him sick. Doesn't want to see you touching wood.
You know what I've noticed? Gary Furman has disappeared while Utah Jim's 69's volume has increased.
And Ghost of Devon Donaldson. They all seem to be missing in action. Ben Marcus says in real leagues, 40% of teams make the playoffs. I mean, those are all sports that are worse than college football. I think there's already too many teams making the playoffs, but
they're already talking. They're using this to have 16, 24. I know your head wants to explode there. But, brother, the expanded college football playoff is the only shot this team has. And I think this year is a pretty prime example as to why it's a good thing.
Listen,
because Miami, I think Miami has a shot if they get in this thing.
Oh, hands down.
Okay. Well, they wouldn't have a shot if it was a 14 playoff. And then you would just say, well, that was in their hands. And they blew it against SMU, even though the refs really aided them in that.
Parity and the opting out of bowls has made this all more palatable.
Okay.
That's my kind of stance on it.
Look at this clown. And then you got, and I don't like to go after our listeners, but this Champion 11 guy says, win the next 2 and we're in. Based on what?
Oh, wait, hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on. Speaking of the pause button, I'll get Dawson right for this week like I did last week. Huh.
What are you talking
What does he mean by that?
Huh.
What does he mean by that?
Huh. Champion 11.
You got him ready how?
You got our eyes on him.
Pete, find out what he means by that.
I have to figure out what this guy's talking about.
Paul Feinbaum is not having any of Notre Dame being ranked ahead of Miami. He said, by the way, friend of the show, Kevin Clark, I believe, is on the Feinbaum show today. So they'll maybe be speaking the same language. But he said, this Feinbaum, there is bias. Let's just go ahead and admit it. And this committee, I have no earthly idea why they can't move beyond it because they're supposed to be objective. I feel badly for Miami.
Look at his body. Look at his body language. He's genuinely fired up about that. Yeah, because for the last 20 years, we've been told head-to-head matters. And now, all of a sudden, because Miami finds itself in this position, head-to-head doesn't matter. Guys, I'm consistent about this. When Miami was ranked ahead of Louisville, I called it out last week. That's not right. Louisville should be ahead of Miami. Why? They played head-to-head. And I suspected they only did that to neuter Miami's argument when it came to head-to-head against Notre Dame. You keep wanting to talk about hypotheticals. This is the arrogance of the college football media and fan base, in which they swear they know what's going to happen in this sport. You're going to be wrong this weekend. You're going to be wrong next weekend, because every individual game is its own entity. It's not a body of work. On any given Saturday, a team can play flat. A call could not go your way. You don't know everything. How arrogant must you be to think that Notre Dame is better? Why? Because I have convinced myself this is so, even though a couple of weeks ago, we saw what happened when those 2 teams played. And even though the score said Miami won by 3, that was pretty close to a 3-score victory for Miami. And the reason why it wasn't was what it actually ended up undoing Miami's chances against Louisville and SMU. They were predictable. They were running an A-gap. They were just playing to win rather than to defeat their opponents and get as many possessions as possible. It was actually pretty predictive of how Miami's season would go. Here's what I would say as to what would happen if those 2 teams played again. Miami has learned from their defeats, much like Notre Dame has. Notre Dame gets to be a different team after that Miami game. Why can't Miami get to be the different team after losing to SMU? Because the team we've seen over the last few weeks, we know the offense that they run, the offense that frustrated us, the tendencies that the defenses were all over. That's a thing of the past. Miami is a different team now. Miami has different personnel now. So when does Miami get to be the different team? Answer me that.
Mike, I'm taking it back all the way to 2000, early 2001, when the BCS first had its biggest controversy. And 2001, I was getting fades at the Mall of the Americas at that time. I don't know what you were up to.
I was living right by there.
I know the current...
It's Midway Mall now.
Is it really?
It's not Mall of the Americas anymore.
The current Secretary of Education was participating in a McMahon in every corner WrestleMania match, which she actually had 2 great matches, because then the next year, an iconic low blow on Vince, one of the greatest WrestleMania moments ever.
Is that when she had her bout with paralysis?
Yes, she had been gone deaf, dumb, and blind at the sight of Trish Stratus, who, man, 25 years later still looks great.
Yeah, that was an incredible program that Vince booked for himself.
It was honestly like Shakespearean, that whole situation. But now she's the Secretary of Education. So a lot of time has passed since this time. I no longer get my fades in Mall of America. I get this nice corporate cut. Shout out to Oliver at Golden Touch. So the BCS at that time chose to put keep Miami, I should say, out of the playoff in favor of FSU despite a head-to-head. And that was a more complicated deal because you had Washington with the head-to-head as well. Since that time, 25 years ago, when you hear the words BCS, the immediate connotation is negative, scoffing. Ugh, glad we're not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
Miami, being the biggest brand in college football, is able to resonate in that way.
Apparently not.
We're not winning a brand off. We're losing the brand off right now. I'm right there with you, Pete.
If we got to do all the bubbaloo about it, then we're not the biggest brand, man.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. When you have Miami and Notre Dame both involved, these are, I would say, the two biggest brands. Now, I think Miami's the bigger brand. We put Notre Dame in one of our documentaries. It was the only documentary of the three that flopped. But these are the two biggest brands. They represent different sides of the college football coin. If you screw over Miami in this scenario with these teams involved, it is going to be the biggest story in sports. And I say that because we're already talking about it. National people are talking about it. It's November 19th. So
Paul Feinbaum's talking with his hands like he's in Little Havana.
It's only going to get bigger. So they don't want to be the new BCS. And if they want to avoid being the new BCS, probably the easiest thing you could do is just look at what happened to the old BCS and why they got their bad reputation. Now, that was a computer that was out of their hands. This is in their hands. Miami takes care of business if Miami wins its last two games. I agree, Pete, that is the primary deal here right now. I think it's going to be easy sailing going in. But if it's not, then we start fighting.
Man,
then we really start pushing it.
Has this been easy so far? It hasn't been. I'm fighting for my life out here. Okay, you don't want to. Pete's like, okay, I don't care about that. None of it. Babaloo, as he says. He says Babaloo. Like, okay, fine.
Just like,
shout out to the soldiers on the front lines.
I think that it's a valiant effort that will be pointless unless other teams lose.
I don't think it's pointless, man. I don't.
I hate to be the
bubble. This is all going to be so funny on January 19th.
Dude,
this is going to be hilarious.
Like,
when we're on a rooftop celebrating number 6.
I want you to understand. It's not that I don't think Miami deserves to be in this playoff. I think it's wasted energy. I think it's completely wasted energy.
I didn't realize that pit stains like this. I'm feeling like, what's his name? Urasek.
It's a dangerous shirt.
Yeah, the shirt is tight on the armpits.
Yeah, Hunter Urasek.
I feel like Hunter right now.
You're with me. That guy cannot be put in front of the cameras again.
None of those guys can. They all look ridiculous.
Nothing made sense. How do you nuke all of your credibility? It's the easy part.
You know who really we should give credit to is Jack Tunney. Because Jack Tunney dealt with much more ridiculous situations with way more dignity and poise than these guys. I mean, he had a situation where you had identical twin refs.
That was crazy.
One of them being bought out by the $1 Million Man. And he handled a situation with grace and class and always in control. These guys, they get in front of the camera once and they look completely clueless. So RIP to Jack Tunney. We need you out here.
Do you believe that Notre Dame should be in the college football playoff? The answer could be
right now.
The answer could be yes, but not at Miami's
expense.
expense.
Now no, because they don't have any quality wins. They haven't beaten anybody.
They beat USC.
USC sucks.
USC does not suck.
We'll find out this weekend.
Okay, that's fair enough. Right at this moment, USC does not suck. USC is a good win. It's not as good a win as we have.
USC is like Louisville. Is there a difference between USC and Louisville? I don't see a difference.
I mean, not even the quarterback, really, because it used to be at USC.
Yeah, but again, here's the problem. Here's the problem that we're encountering here by this logic that you're saying. If those two teams played, I think it'd be an even game. They're not going off that logic. They're going off the logic of USC right now is an 8-2 team. I just created a marker of 43-35, whatever that was. They're looking at that team as a way different team than Louisville right now for Miami. It
was a bad Louisville loss. It was one that Miami needed because all this goes away if the right results happen, and then you got a game for your life in the ACC championship like that. I'm actually rooting for that because that opens the door to Miami hosting potentially in the first round. Who knows how the results break? You could even be talking about it as Miami is one of these bye teams. Who knows? We'll see. I'm still holding out hope that we get to the ACC.
What? Bye team.
But if Miami wins the ACC.
Bye team.
If Miami wins the ACC, there's a path for that.
I didn't even know this. So this is news to me, Leia, for life. That Jack Tunney wouldn't sanction a rematch between Hogan and Warrior because they would inflict too much damage to each other. Good way to avoid another babyface.
It doesn't work for me, brother.
Unbelievable. That's what I'm talking about. Jack Tunney handles all these situations with finesse and class. Everybody wins, and these guys can't handle anything. University administrators, man, I'm telling you, pathetic. So that's what we get. We get a cluster. That's what these guys are used to creating. So
we need Oregon to win that game. Otherwise, we need to win the propaganda argument
you need Auburn
against
to
Oregon.
beat Alabama. You need Cincinnati to beat BYU. You need
That can
a lot
happen.
of things to happen.
That's only a 2.5 point spread.
It can happen. I'm not saying it can't, but
Son of the Beach says Pete has the same type of hysteria as a guy checking his account after a night at the strip club.
He's a guy that's cool, calm, and collected. If you listen to what he's saying, he says none of this matters. What matters to him is 10 wins.
this stuff doesn't move me.
I'm not saying it doesn't matter, but I'm also not dismissing the propaganda fight on the front lines. I think that matters too.
Okay.
Can we agree to disagree?
We can do.
I enjoy the discourse.
We can do such a thing, my friend.
But I've seen the shift. And God bless that team on Saturday for not letting NC State cross a 50. But the shift ain't because Miami's playing well. It helps. It helps. It certainly gives us a lot more conviction.
But it didn't do anything for us this week.
Yeah, we tweeted our way up 2 spots.
We tweeted our way up. I think that's true. Like they are going to feel us, Pete. They are feeling us right now. They're annoyed with us. Good. If we get in because they're simply annoyed with us, fine. They get in. Do you know how much harm I'm actually doing to a national brand of mine? There's damage I'm not coming back from by being such a crybaby right now. But that is how much this team means to me. I know. Do you think I don't realize that I'm being annoying on social media? You don't think I know that?
Some might think these have been your best social media posts in quite a while.
Yeah, it's part of the face turn. Don't check threads. If for college football propaganda and lobbying, check X. Threads, you're gonna get a horse of a different color, or should I say a donkey of a different color, a blue one. But this stuff absolutely matters, guys. They're human bureaucrats. They're dorks. They get bullied. They change their minds. They get tired of you yelling at them. They want to be popular. It happens to matter.
Yep.
Which is why I'm doing it, because I have one of those platforms nationally that allows me to do it. And like I said, I don't care if it annoys you. If it makes any kind of dent in helping Miami's chances, to me, it's worth it because I love this program. Unlike Pete, which is just fine with just going through the motions, thinking it doesn't matter, and wanting just 2 more wins to satiate his desires and needs. I'm sorry if my barometer for what a successful season is a tad higher, because I have a standard.
It's out of our control.
Your
we
standard,
can do is win 10.
My standard.
Out of our control. The standard is out of both of our controls.
I'm telling you, it's in our control.
Pete's saying protesting doesn't work.
That's what he's saying.
We should have a protest in front of the Ronald Reagan statue right by Pete's house. Those guys go hard, Pete. Those guys are always out there, right? Right by the Tropical Park. We got to get to Glenvar Heights, man, and get this thing rolling. Shout out to everybody on the by Tropical.
Do we move on from the CFP and talk about the game this week, what we saw last week? I haven't really had an opportunity to talk about how impressed I was with Miami against NC State.
Please do.
Bryce Fitzgerald, they went at the young man right away, and we knew given that was a huge opportunity for the young man, we were worried. And Dave Doran, he's a good head coach. He went right at Bryce Fitzgerald, forced him to make plays. The thing that I think I'm most worried about when it comes to Bryce Fitzgerald, outside of his youth and inexperience, is, he's got to gamble a little bit, but also in tackling in space doesn't seem to be a strength of his. I thought he was rock solid over there.
Set a great tone early.
Yeah, that was hugely important for Miami. Miami in this game early on faced some adversity. That fumble, great effort by the defense to bounce back from that. Miami was so fantastic on defense that it made me reconsider my own evaluation of CJ Bailey.
Well, we had this little experience in the chat. You were downplaying your CJ Bailey love, and I found a few old texts of you proclaiming him the next top 5 pick.
Don't find the Mendoza ones. I do think he's a top 5 pick.
So let's get him.
Still, I think there are better options.
It's going to be interesting.
Potentially. Like if Sam Levitt, I saw your video on Sam Levitt. I love you guys getting out there
You
with
like
the
that Oh my
clickbait.
God, how baity
That was good.
How baity was that?
That was good.
Was it really?
That was
bait,
Warren Beatty.
No, it was great.
though?
but-
Was it bait?
I like Bailey over Sellers, and I know
Okay.
I'm unpopular there,
Okay, Baylor
But-
Sellers.
but Sellers, his approach bothers me a little bit. And what I've seen this season, when there was so much expectation, not just for South Carolina, but for him, he was being talked about as a number 1 overall pick potentially. It was an injury that did him in. He just fell on his face this year. And yeah, I know against Texas A&M, he showed off some things that you would like about him. And behind this line, who knows? Would Miami be a CFP team with Sellers? Yes, but we're parsing here. And parsing could be the difference between a CFP appearance and not. I like Bailey more than Sellers even after that performance last week. But if you tell me Levitt's available, I like Levitt there.
I'll start with Levitt. Can you describe Levitt's game without using a white guy cliche?
Nope.
I know he's gritty. I know he's a gunslinger.
Yep.
I know he's tough as nails.
Mhm.
What else we got on him?
Guts, guile.
He can boogie.
I know he's the kind of guy you want to
Deceptively
he can
fast.
boogie. He can boogie.
I know
Yeah.
you want to get a beer with him.
There's nothing deceptive.
3.
About it. He can move.
I want to get 3 beers with him.
But he is a good player. I know the injury's kind of concerning me.
The
He's got that
injuries are really
foot.
bad.
We got-
Go rewatch TCU versus Arizona State. It happened on that spooky Friday night that was in Charlottesville. So the eyes of the college football world were on one of the greatest field rushes of all time. And everybody probably went to bed after that. But simultaneously, TCU and Arizona State played a really interesting game. And Levitt toughed that one out. There was talk that he wasn't going to start there. He and Josh Hoover, who's another quarterback I really like, who eschewed the portal last year quite famously and showed his loyalty to TCU. If he enters the portal, he's another person that I would rank against Bailey. But watch that game and you'd come away with being really impressed, because I'm with you. If I want to talk about Levitt's game, I'm really talking about performances that he had last year, which were good, really impressive. He had a little bit more talent. That was such a Cam Scatteraboo team too. Even in the college football playoff game, I think it was the Peach Bowl. They had Scatteraboo throwing passes in that game. He was just
Unreal.
dynamite.
You saw him at Raw?
Yeah.
Pushing Dominic Mysterio?
I understand why Giants fans are a little
He looked small.
heated about it.
Scatteraboo looked tiny.
Yeah, he's a running back.
Yeah, I was surprised. I thought he looked bigger.
Running backs are small. I hear you, because he does look kind of jacked and stocky. But I think Levitt would probably, and this has been something consistent, and I know he's been hurt, but Levitt for me would be the clear number 1 option. But back to Bailey. Why it gave me pause, that performance. You can't help but get shook or rattled in the confidence of a young man when he doesn't cross the 50 until the walk-ons start checking in the game. I know he's tightened up his delivery, which is kind of wonky and long. There are Ja'Cory comparisons, which I'm sure make people feel a certain way. I don't think he's Ja'Cory, but there's a really long delivery there. And was Miami just playing so fast on defense that it looked like he didn't have zip on those passes? Because like I could have run from my seat at the Golden Canes and picked off that pass. It was so long to get there.
Yeah.
It was an easy in-stride pick 6.
I don't think his feet were his cleats were not in the ground. He just never was able to set. O-Snap Mikey said there was a great post game from Bailey. I didn't see that, but I'm curious about that. I have heard he has great character.
I think it was just like all the guys that are.
Yeah.
Oh, yes,
going
yeah.
up to him.
You're not shook? I mean, that was a rough performance.
I'm very fond of Bailey. Real quick, I want to get
he
to
has
this.
to be careful.
I want to get to this
remember,
racial stereotype real
He
quick.
has to be very careful with stuff that could get pulled back in a few months here.
I don't
In
mind.
a month.
But let me deal with this racial stereotype real quick. Ghost Von Donaldson says white guys aren't fast, they're quick. So something I've studied in depth. Yes, typically you will have quicker than fast white guys. That's your slot receiver types. However, there are some fast but not quick white guys, and you got to be wary of them. They have a very low success rate. I'm thinking of an Andy Isabella, who was drafted by the Arizona Cardinals, very fast, ran a 4.4, I believe, at the combine, not quick, had a lot of struggles in the pros to get open. Troy Stellato, Peter, I don't know if you remember him, a white guy from down here, signed with Clemson as a receiver. Very fast, not quick, didn't make it. So you always have to be wary of the fast but not quick white. Now, if you get a quick and fast white, you're cooking with gas. I would say a McCaffrey, clearly a quick and fast white. Another quick and fast white, Vance Spafford, Miami's commit, will be signing here in a couple weeks with the Canes. Very quick, good route runner, but also fast, verified 4.3. So there are exceptions to the rule. Vance Spafford, buy your ticket if you want to see a fast and quick white coming to Coral Gables next year.
Okay. So you're still fully on board with Bailey. If Miami brings in
100%.
Bailey next year, that's a huge win.
I would go. I think he'll win. He'll be a Heisman candidate. The thing is when you have to look at them in the system that they're going to be in. So Cam Ward was great at Washington State in terms of the highlights, and we all wanted him bad. So like, it's not like we did not want Cam Ward. But if you look at Cam Ward's offense, I'm going to just pull up some stats real quick. So Cam Ward at Washington State never had an offense in the 2 years he was there that averaged 30 points a game.
So what changed?
Well, what changed, and let me see where NC State is, because NC State, I think, dropped a little bit too after this last blowout. They'll end up probably a little in that same range, like that 28, 29 range, I expect, after this weekend. Cam Ward, you put him behind that great offensive line, whereas all day, now you get to see the real Cam Ward experience, because you get to see the secondary plays consistently, because he has extra time in the pocket. So when you give a quarterback like Cam Ward extra time, he can do more with it than the average quarterback. Like some quarterbacks, you don't want them holding onto the ball. We talked about on this show a million times, Carson Beck. You don't necessarily want him holding the ball. Cam Ward, I would love him to hold the ball as long as he can, because once that ball's gone, he found something huge in terms of down the field. CJ Bailey is not Cam Ward, but he, to me, is the type of quarterback that the longer he holds onto the ball, the more dangerous he becomes. He can run. He's faster than Ward, faster than Beck, obviously, in terms of his strides. And then he can also throw downfield. We didn't get to see that against Miami, because the second his foot hit the ground on his last drop, he was getting smoked. I mean, it was one of those dominant defensive performances I've seen. They also ran for -2 yards. So really, he didn't have much of a chance. I think if you put him with a good offensive line, all the things that are good about him, 6'6", good arm, accuracy, almost a 70% passer.
So his arm is good.
Go, Mike, watch the Georgia Tech game.
I did. I saw all 48 points that they put up.
It didn't get weaker. The arm didn't get weaker.
Everybody
overnight.
else forgot about that game, but I saw it. It wasn't that long ago.
He didn't sleep on his arm the wrong way. It just was, he just didn't have the chance to
Georgia Tech's
show off
defense
the
is
arm.
starting to be a little sus.
Oh, it is beyond sus.
Yeah, like Boston College putting up 35 points is like Miami putting up 75.
No, Georgia Tech's defense sucks. But like the tools you saw, I mean, he's big. Again, he has a strong arm. He can run. And I think he's got a good head on his shoulders, and he's accurate, almost 70% passer. So
now I do know that Miami
together.
wrecked that game at the line of scrimmage,
Wrecked
but
it.
also Miami only had 1 sack. What am I supposed to do with that?
he would get rid of it quick, and it would go nowhere. But he was just kind of like,
He
get
made
rid of it.
the pick six was a game ender.
Bad play.
It was a game
Bad
ender.
play. Bad
And
play.
it was because like he stared it down and he didn't have the arm strength to get it there.
I don't think he was able to step into the throw.
Okay.
I mean, he makes throws all over the field. The arm strength's the least of my problems.
So you would take him over Levitt. You would take him over Sam Levitt.
I have to watch Levitt this year. Levitt's stats are not very good this year.
Just watch the TCU Arizona
Bailey's
State game.
stats are significantly better than Levitt this year.
All right.
But
Your
he's
homework
hurt.
assignment is just to watch TCU Arizona State. And I'm curious where you have Josh Hoover too.
Hoover to me is kind of like a Big 12 kind of guy. Just like he's a good player, but not like I like tools when it comes to quarterbacks. I like guys that are.
You don't like guts, guile. You like tools.
You got to have guts and guile. I think he has guts and guile, CJ Bailey. But I mean, look at the NFL. Justin Herbert.
That doesn't fit. He's not white.
Justin Herbert.
That's something that's just reserved for the white quarterback.
I guess. I mean, CJ
Is
Bailey.
Sam Levitt too swaggy for you?
Yeah.
He's not. He doesn't have the tattoos, or at least none of them are showing.
To be determined.
But he's got like the broccoli hair.
Triple transfer. I don't love that. I don't love the triple transfer. He's originally signed with Michigan State.
Hold on. How many
Cam
times
Ward.
did Cam Ward transfer?
Cam Ward quadruple transfer.
He's like the
Wait,
college
FCS
football.
doesn't count.
True.
This
FCS
guy
doesn't
is
count.
like he's like the college football playoff committee. He
Yeah.
knows how to fit his argument into what the narrative that he wants.
But he was a Mel Tucker guy, right? You can't hold that one against him.
Then leaving Arizona State, which is the
He
team that went to
hasn't
the playoff.
left yet. And in all fairness to Sam Levitt, his brother has come out and said that this is lies. And the reports are is that he's still considering. I hear you, but look, like they're ranked without him. They're ranked without, which you may have as a strike against. But and I know they have an all worldwide receiver.
First
What's the name?
rounder.
Yeah, Tyson. Yeah, he's awesome, and he was great in that game that Sam Levitt played. But watch that game. and then tell me your thoughts.
I mean, TJ Bailey lost the best receiver in the ACC with Concepcion leaving, so that hurt his.
That's true. Very, very true. By the way, the leading rusher in the ACC had -2 yards against Miami.
Rocco says D-Money Tools equals did he play hoops?
Who do you like there? Sam Levitt or CJ Bailey?
I lean Levitt, but I'm not done on Bailey either.
I'm not done on him either. I'm not. I think in the right offense, I'm with D-Money. He could be a Heisman type guy. I like his size. He needs to tighten up that release. That is not going to fly in the NFL. But he did tighten it up a little bit too. And as the season's progressed, it's gotten longer. When I watched him earlier this season, I felt like he had a better grip on that.
So he plays Florida State on Friday. It's spooky time in Raleigh. If he does bad in that game, I'm gonna start moving back here and deleting some of these old
start
comments.
Capitulating some stock.
Yeah. I'll start selling a little bit. But if he goes out there and destroys Florida State, I'm right back on it. I mean, I think he's gonna be really good. He needs help. I think with all these quarterbacks, you got to project how they will do in our system with great pass protection, which I think after 3 years, because TVD had great pass protection too. I think you could safely say we lose a couple guys. Mount Noah's obviously a big one. We'll see what happens with Markel Bell, but I think it's safe to assume pass protection. So the question becomes, what will this quarterback do with pass protection? Will it be a force multiplier for him? Will he go to a whole nother level with pass protection, or will he just be slightly better?
Well, let's talk about the last 2 quarterback portal pursuits, right? And it's funny, the examples that I'm going to cite, because we thought the gulf between Cam Ward and Will Howard was such that we wanted to hold out and get Cam Ward. Now, we were right. Cam Ward, better quarterback. Will Howard, national champion.
Yeah.
Last year, you had Mendoza there, but you didn't feel comfortable doing that. I know I didn't. I wanted to hold out and get a better quarterback. The quarterback that we ended up getting, not unlike the previous year, had already declared for the NFL draft. I mean, I was trying to talk Jalen Daniels into existence.
Yeah, that was bad.
It got a little scary there.
Oof, it was very scary.
It got scary there, and we ended up getting Carson Beck. Now, in retrospect, Mendoza may end up winning the Heisman. So that's curious. What I want to avoid is what's happened to us the last 2 portal cycles, in which we don't have our quarterback situation squared away, which means wide receivers. It happened with Rivers. It happened the previous year with CJ Daniels, who we ended up coming back and making that right on. But we didn't have the weapons in place to help make that quarterback more successful. And I want to avoid that, because I don't think the distance between Bailey and Levitt is such. If you tell me Bailey's ready to go right now, and there's a lot to be said for that. Bailey has been, in the past, I know he's softened considerably, but in the past, very prickly about Miami's late pursuit there. Like, Miami's had, if this is indeed a portal target, Miami's going to have to do a lot of repairing of that relationship and that initial pursuit. But my preference would be lock the quarterback in as soon as you can. Yeah. There isn't a prime alpha at the position that is so much better than everybody else. Let me have my quarterback in place, and then let me try to get the talent around him. Yeah. Because we struggled to lock in Concepcion, who went to Texas A&M, direct competition for Miami, provided they get into the CFP. Like, it affects your talent acquisition at the wide receiver position, and I am not signing up for that again.
By the way, we have a lot of super chats I got to get to. So if you put a super chat in, don't think I forgot. We got you right here. Chuck says, head-to-head aside, Miami doesn't get the same credit for wins-loss. Again, appreciate you, Chuck 22. James Kane says, ESPN is now trying to push Notre Dame beat Miami. A little slip of the tongue from Reese Davis. My wife's a psychologist. She said that was like one of those
intentional
mental tricks. Yeah. She thought that was telling. CFX, appreciate you. Shout out to Notre Dame making Miami America's team in the arena. Again, thank you, man. Keep doing your thing. We will try, hopefully deep into the playoff season with the Miami Hurricanes rocking and rolling. Let's see what we got here. Oh, snap. He's on the Bailey train. He says, I think what Bailey what stands out is how he didn't let up and stop firing. You like that confidence in the room is contagious, man. I mean, he got beat.
Keep that energy when Carson Beck throws 3 interceptions, please.
Not going to happen. Not going to happen. Yeah, that already happened. Yeah. He's past it now.
I do like this offense. I do think Miami is different. And I do think that whether they listen to outside forces or they did an internal eval and realized like that SMU game was a joke that we lost. And we got to stop playing like you have that in your locker. You know you can play the type of style in which you're outmatched. Pete likes to highlight 15th in talent, right?
It needs to be better.
Okay, got it. Got it. They're going to play, if they make it to the CFP, if this goes the distance, they're going to run into teams that are more talented. We know that Miami can play a game against a more talented team and win it. We know that they can play that style, but they had to break away from that style, and they are going to continue to break away from that style because style points matter, which means getting as many possessions as possible matters. And Carson Beck is way more comfortable in that type of offense. It's really cool to see. I think that was Carson Beck's best game as a Miami Hurricanes quarterback.
He was balling. That throw to Lofton was incredible. Second read and making the accurate throw. His release is so quick, man. He's fun to watch. Hopefully that's just – we don't talk about the injury with Carson Beck enough. I mean, he missed all of spring, really all of summer, and he was hurt learning how to throw. So it makes sense that a guy like that, kind of like Notre Dame every year, according to the polls, finds it later on in the season because he missed so much time. I mean, rhythm, timing, chemistry, just physical health, physical comfortability, all that stuff, it makes sense over the course of the year that would improve. And we've seen it even at SMU, I thought really he played well, just aside from the one miscommunication with Malley at the end. I mean, he played great against SMU. So I think really since then he's been playing at a pretty high level. And if it continues against Virginia Tech, which is not a very good team, you get 40 points, which is, I think, the target. 40 points against Virginia. They're not going to score that many points. So you got to get 40.
I want to talk about that. I heard your show with Amon and how you want to get multiple snaps for Malachi under center. I think 5 is a good number. I like that look. But talk about...
Did you catch his comparison?
Yeah.
He compared Malachi Tony to Tim Tebow.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't know that. Well, he also compared Malachi to himself. That was really impressive from Amon. So Miami plays Virginia Tech this week. Virginia Tech, they have to run the ball. They are not a talented passing team. Different than last year. They have an NFL player. They had an NFL player when they lost that game last year in Lane, somebody that haunted Miami dating back to his Middle Tennessee State days. But this is a team that needs to run the ball. Styles make fights. This is what Miami does well. Stop the run. Like, Miami's got to dominate. And I know this is a Virginia Tech team that's going to get the little added juice. Maybe James Franklin is going to be on the sideline, which will be super awkward because he'll be hyping up an entire team that he plans to blow out and totally get out of that uniform as soon as he can. But Blacksburg always has some juice to it. This place will be jumping. That being said, some pretty mid-Miami teams have gone into Blacksburg recently and come away with a victory. The line continues to increase. I think it's, 18 and a half now after opening up at 15 and a half. Miami's got to throttle this team, not just for their CFP lives, but because look at them. Look at what they do well and what they do poorly. Virginia Tech plays right into Miami's hands.
Yeah.
Miami's got to smash this team, and I expect them to.
James Franklin will be there to try to get the crowd into it. Recruits there. You gotta get up there early and avoid any kind of. They're not going to lose. I don't think they could. It's college football, but I think the real risk is getting in an ugly game early, and then you have to fight it your way out of it. And people might. Once people see a halftime score this tight, they might just assume it's close. You got to kind of set it from the beginning that it's a blowout. Our guy, Yuramuch, what's the guy's name? The guy
Hunter Yurachek.
Hunter Yurachek.
What do you say?
If he doesn't want to be sweating like Psycho Sid next time, maybe you should drink nice BUZZN. BUZZN. That's drinkbuzzn.com. Calm him down, 7.5 milligrams of THC. He could drink that. He can calm down before his interview, but he also won't have a hangover. He'll have all the hang, no hangover, all the bubbles without the troubles. 7.5 milligrams of real THC, like I said. Fruit flavors, cherry, strawberry, watermelon, variety pack. What's the buzz all about? You see all those 5-star ratings. It is BUZZN, BUZZN. Just go to drinkbuzzn.com to order your own. Or you could go to Big Daddy's Liquors all across South Florida, get it in person. Use code FIRST50 for 50% off if you order online. And, hey, man, it's all, let me get a good slogan here. What do they got here? Bubbles with benefits. How about that one? Bubbles with benefits, BUZZN, drinkbuzzn.com.
I'm checking the group chat right now to see if there's any talking points or if this Yurachek guy has opened his mouth again. I think so far so good. That means
this is like a full around the clock gig for you, huh?
Yeah. This is war.
War was
This
Sunday
is
night,
war.
and we lost the war.
No, this is war. Sometimes it's battled in the front lines. Sometimes you battle it in back rooms with bureaucrats. This is war.
or with Eurochecks.
Yes. A clown.
Bureaucrats,
He
Eurochecks.
never put that guy in front of a camera again.
He's going to be talking about how we made the playoffs in a couple weeks. We're going to love Eurocheck.
Utah Jim 69, who I firmly believe is a fake Gary Furman at this point. We drink beer like men over here. You know that they have different beer in Utah?
Really?
Yeah. Take your like lead light lager here, domestic light lager, the ones that advertise on football Sundays.
Mm-hmm.
They have to have less alcohol by volume over there than they have the rest of the nation. Like these beer companies make softer beers for Salt Lake City, Utah. Also cocktails. They have stoppers on theirs, but like their stoppers are much shorter than the stoppers elsewhere. The only way to kind of work around it is to get like a beer and a shot. It's the only way that you can get any kind of buzz there. Salt Lake City, one of the worst places I have ever been to in my entire life. I was miserable there.
You know, I think Mormons are a group that you're allowed to stereotype a little bit. So if I may, my dad grew up in the West.
I don't know that's the case.
No, yeah, go for it.
My dad grew up in the West. We grew up around Mormons. And he always said that the key to Mormons is you can't hang out with one because they'll drink all your beer. They'll smoke all your stuff. They'll do all your drugs. You got to hang out with two. So they're watching each other. And then everything's all good. So like always two Mormons for the party, never one.
Also, whenever I ordered a ride share in Salt Lake City, 8 times out of the 10 rides that I ordered, someone was trying to convert me.
Really?
Yeah.
That's take it as a compliment.
Okay. But I mean, like they have like it's almost as if they have like these Mormon missions, right? But like they really try to win you over and like they tell the church, hey, I'm a rideshare driver. And they're like, you have to convert this many. This is your quota. And they're just volume shooters over there.
Listen,
hey, that like one guy was like, what do you know about JC?
Really?
Yeah.
like Owen Wilson and
yeah. And he was like, and he's like, you know, there's this really great special. It's available for streaming on this and this. And it, like, I looked it up. It was like a Latter-day Saints production.
He's
like, man, there's so many things that you don't know about JC that if you watch this thing, it's kind of like a little Scientologist type of vibe.
That's what they're saying in the chat. But you know what, though? I got to say, the Scientologists, every time I see Tom Cruise, the guy looks great. He's in great mood. These Mormons, every time I see him, they look great. They're playing good sports. Got nice jaw lines to them, well dressed. So you know, maybe they got it right.
I was looking forward to our trip to Provo just to watch Filete have to go to Provo, Utah. Unfortunately, we won't get to see that.
Filete won't even go to Coconut Grove, man.
Filete went to Tampa. That's the road trip for Filete. He doesn't like to fly. Doesn't.
I don't know what he likes to do, Filete, other than
I have a couple ideas.
Get Shannon Dawson right for the game.
Yeah, that was weird.
That was the first of many pauses in the show.
I still don't know what you wanted to do to Eurocheck's neck or what he likes. that was odd. All right, do we want to get to the pop culture aspects of this shindig on Wednesdays?
Let's do it. So let's start with
let's learn from the past. Let's break it up though. In the middle, we'll give like some football nutrients. In the middle, we'll give the picks.
You want the picks? You got to stick around for the professional wrestling. So let's start actually with the pro wrestling here, Mike. I want to hear about your wrestler of the week.
Edge is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. I think it. Way to go. Bravo, Pete. For those listening on the podcast, he just has a photo of Edwin James up there.
You said Edge. I know one Edge.
Should have clarified.
I know one Edge.
That's my bad. Edge is still out here doing it now, wrestling under the name Cope, aka Adam Copeland. He's not able to take Edge with him over in AEW, but I've been watching a lot of Edge on WWE Network lately, and this guy's had quite the career. He had a hell of a look. Now he's a bit haggard, to be honest, but from the matches he's put up there, the guy's broken his neck. He had everything going for him. The look, the in-ring ability, even though he paralyzed somebody in his very first match.
That's right.
Do you remember? Like he did a sunset flip to the outside and like bashed the neck of one of the Boricuas.
Yep.
Was a part of the Brood. Shout out to Gangrel. But I think his very best work was Rated R Rockstar. And right now, everyone's talking about John Cena as he's wrestling his final matches. How do you feel about John Cena devoting 3 of his final 4 matches to Dominic Mysterio?
Good choice. The Raw yesterday or on Monday, I've watched half of it. It was pretty electric. So I got to finish watching it, but it looks like it's going well. See how he sticks the landing.
I mean, I'm happy that John Cena's taken this time to try to get Dominic even more over. One thing that's become really clear is Dominic needs new ring gear because he's always lifting his pants, and we got to work on this body, pal.
Yeah.
He's already getting up there. He's close to 30 years old, Dominic. Get the body looking like it. Eddie had to do it. Your dad had to do it. Your deadbeat dad, they all had to do it. Now, one of them tested positive for steroids. The other one was definitely on steroids, and it might have affected his long-term health. I'm not saying steroids. It's honestly like just a little bit more, and you'll be a Royal Rumble winner and lifting the belts over your head at a WrestleMania in no time. Buy all the Dominic Mysterio stock. The guy's my favorite to watch, and he keeps kayfabe and he deadpans it.
Whole
He's
family
awesome.
does.
But let's get back to Edge, because Edge, for my money, maybe Punk is a better rival for John Cena. I happen to think it was the rated R superstar Edge going up against John Cena. Great matches, and at a point where WWE was allegedly going PG, Edge was the only guy kind of pushing the envelope with that striptease live sex celebration with Lita.
Cardi B said it was one of the seminal moments of her childhood, that sex celebration.
Yeah, it was pretty shocking to see. Everyone was pausing the TiVo with the exact
I gotta
same
say, now that I say, he does look like Corey Heatherman on a 3rd and 8.
There we go.
He does look like Corey Heatherman on a 3rd and manageable.
The internet was trying to will Edge going back to WWE, even though he's contracted under AEW, for one last face-off with Cena, as he's, his arch rival. I fall in that camp. I think he's Cena's greatest rival. The only guy that could match him really on the mic during that time, the only guy that they fed John Cena during that Superman run that had any kind of staying power. They would just build these guys up like Lord Tensai and Umaga, and he would famously squash them, and it was hard for these guys to bounce back. Not the case for Edge. He was not dependent on John Cena. He went on to have great programs with The Undertaker. Yep.
Great match at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And a great cage match. Remember that cage match?
The Hell in a Cell. It was awesome. Had really good, funny stuff with Vicky Guerrero. And started the Judgment Day, which is still around, even though his departure from that stable was weird. It's part of his legacy. Judgment
better
Day,
without him, to be fair.
Yeah, but Judgment Day has somehow been around for like 6 years.
Insane.
It's wild.
It looked like just a classic, like 1-2 month gimmick that would suck.
Yeah, like the League of Nations or whatever. Judgment Day is still around. So credit to Edge. I think he's never going to be on anybody's Mount Rushmore, but over the last 20 years, he's certainly a top 10, top 5 guy for me. Awesome entertainer, Hall of Famer, no doubt, already in the Hall of Fame, but bona fide, one of the best entertainers to ever do it.
Yeah, no, big fan of Edge. We'd love to see him get one more run in WWE, but we'll see how that all plays out. So I'm going with a different one, and I don't know why this popped into my head. I think I saw a VHS tape and it reminded me of him, and this is Mitsuharu Misawa, the late Mitsuharu Misawa. So I know you're a big Meltzer guy. And I remember when I was a kid.
I'm not.
There we go. There's my guy. So I would go to Beverly Hills Cafe. Do you remember Beverly Hills Cafe?
Yeah, that's where Sports Grill is now.
Yeah.
That's where Sports Grill is now. So they used to have magazines in the back, and they had like the bootleg magazines. They had Surge Cola, first of all, or the Jolt Cola, like the extra hyped Coke. You remember that thing?
Mm-hmm.
They had Jolt and then Surge, but Surge, there was rumors that it shrunk your testicles, so people stopped drinking it.
Yeah, affected sperm count, which there might be something to that if you've seen sperm count data.
Really?
I mean, look at teen pregnancy has basically been abolished in this country.
Thank you, Surge. But so that was what you go to get those drinks at Beverly Hills Cafe, and you also get magazines. So I get these old wrestling magazines, and you go through like the matches of the year and like the best wrestlers. And this guy was always the person that would get all the 5-star matches. So I started ordering VHSs online of like wrestling mixtapes, which in retrospect, I was a little kid. Who the hell knows who the hell was on the other side of that one? But so I'd get the mixtapes. This guy was always suplexing people or being suplexed on his neck. I mean, badly. So my VHS collection at this time was basically like University of Miami highlights, like 1998, like 99.
Was
like,
he Tiger Mask?
He was one of the Tiger Masks.
Wow.
Yeah. He was in the original. He was one of them.
Dude, growing up, I love Tiger Mask. He was probably my era's Tiger Mask.
He was, but he was a bigger guy.
Yeah.
So he wasn't like the flippy kind of guy. This guy was a legit wrestler, and he just suplexed guys and forearm him in the face. A lot of stuff you see now in AEW and some other places. So I remember my VHS collection was basically like highlights from 98, 99.
Ooh, bad years.
I
Well,
mean,
99, we started turning the corner.
These all Japan like mixtapes that people would send me. And then like, Jenna Jameson and whoever else was around at that time. Tara Patrick, I guess, would be at that time.
Never heard of either of those two names.
So it was my VHS collection. So anyways, always had a lot of respect for this guy. And then it turned out that he was, as he got older, I didn't even know this until later, he got suplexed one too many times, and he actually died from an in-ring accident because of a German suplex. Landed on his head.
Damn.
Passed out, and then it was done. So died for the game. According to Meltz, he's a Hall of Famer, all the Hall of Fames. Mitsuharu Misawa, R.I.P. To one of the realest to ever do it. Gave it all for the business.
I enjoyed that. Pete, who's your wrestler of the week?
Don't have one.
Okay, well, we got our shot up, though, with the Edge graphic. I appreciate you. Should we do the college football picks now?
Let's
give
do
a
it.
little nutritional value.
Let's do. Here we go.
Missouri spelled wrong. Oh, it's always a mistake.
Yeah, so that's why you always got to go Mizzou.
You got to get back that night,
You gotta go.
that night award nomination.
I
What's
need-
that?
yeah.
The Silver Night Award nomination. P, you got to give that back.
This is a bad one.
Mrs.
I kind of need to
Reeves,
see
by
the
the way,
picks.
Mrs. Reeves, who
Oh,
works so hard.
That one's understandable.
Oh, that's a typo.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Missouri. All right. I'm going with NC State, just like D Money. I don't understand this line. Raleigh is a tough place to play. It's a spooky Friday night. I've watched FSU. The line has me so confused. Is this an overcorrection for what Miami did to NC State, or does Vegas know something? Now, typically Vegas knows something, but I know something too. I know Florida State is playing on a football field, and they can't be giving 4.5 points to anybody. I'm going to take NC State here, and I'm going to take the money line too. And if I'm wrong, I'm out on CJ Bailey entirely.
Yeah,
D.
I'm with you. This is a CJ Bailey prove it game, and I'm a CJ Bailey fan, but FSU's really, really bad team. Their defense is horrible. Their pass rush is nothing even close to what you saw last week with Miami. NC State's got to get this one done. They're healthy. They got their running backs. They got their receivers. They got their offensive line. They got their quarterback. Yeah, you got beat. Get back on the horse and put some points up. This has got to be an NC State win. I'm with you 100%. This is the CJ Bailey Bowl.
So talk to me about USC plus 9.5. I almost made my card. I'm in the camp that doesn't think Oregon is as good as their rankings suggest, but they got a lot of talent. Their best football could certainly still be ahead of them. USC has been solid this year. Do you think USC has a shot to win this game? And if they do, that's problematic for Miami.
I hated picking this one because I want Oregon to just blow the doors off USC. And I do think USC is not a very good team, like as far as like top 15 type team. But plus 9.5 is a lot. This is a healthy team. They're playing well on offense. Oregon, they have injuries. They have a very good running game, and they have a quarterback that's talented, but he's young. He's prone to having some inconsistent performances. I'm just not sold that Oregon is that type of team that you can say, hey, they're going to blow out another top 20 team by 10 in a game that's just as important for the other team as it is for you. Both these teams are trying to make the playoff. So I think Lincoln Riley's going to enter the clip. I don't know if USC will win, but I do think 9.5 is rich for a team that can score as many points as USC. So I hope I'm wrong. This is the one I hope I'm wrong about the most, because if Oregon just blows the doors off USC,
this would be tough.
Notre Dame's only good win will look a lot worse.
Yeah, and any hope that the ACC could potentially get 2 at-large bids, that goes up in embers, I think. So I'm with you, though. USC is on my card. This is a road game, but they stay on the West Coast. They're familiar with this opponent. You know, your classic Big Ten matchup, Oregon, USC. On my side of the card, I'm going with Louisville plus 2.5 at SMU. Miami's lost to both of these teams. I'm doing transit property here. Out of the 2 teams that I saw this season, I believe Louisville to be the better one.
Yep.
If you watch that loss to Clemson, mitigating circumstances, Clemson needs to get a win for Dabo here. And man, Louisville was so undisciplined, so bad, missing so many kicks. They found a way to lose that game. Benefited Miami, kept Miami alive in the ACC, so I'm glad about it, even though it made Miami's loss to Louisville look that much worse. They were 0-2 since losing Isaac Brown. However, the running backs that they were throwing out there against Clemson were dynamite. I can only imagine what Isaac Brown was going to do. I don't even think he could have done better. Where are they finding these guys?
Yeah, they got good ones fast.
They have another Brown, and he might be better. Those backs were incredible. I just have seen both these teams up close, and I think Louisville's a better team. I find it hard to believe that a Jeff Brom coach team is going to lose 3 in a row. Now SMU is coming off a bye, I believe. 2 coaches that I rate highly, but I just think Louisville is better. And I think the better result here for Miami is if SMU wins this game. Being said, SMU can go ahead and lose to Cal, a team that beat Louisville as a 20.5-point dog a couple of weeks ago. I just think Jeff Brom is too good a coach to drop 3 in a row. So I'm going with Louisville here. Chaos ensues in the ACC.
Yeah, I'm interested in that game. I would agree with you. Louisville's got better players than SMU. Missouri, I don't know if this is my heart talking here, but plus 7.5 seems like a lot. I just don't like giving a team like Oklahoma that the offense is so questionable 7.5 points expecting them to cover with 7.5 points.
This line opened up at 9.5 and I locked it in at 9.5. 7.5. I like that hook there, D.
Yeah, to me, it seems like too many. It's a lot of quarterback uncertainty with Missouri, with Pribula, with Zoller. You don't know who's going to start. I think that's why this.
I don't think either's good.
But Pribula at least is experienced. Missouri has good players. They have the best defensive ends in the country west of Miami. Maybe it's the Texas Tech in that mix. They have a great running game. Maud Hardy might be the offensive player of the year in the SEC. They have a good offensive line. They're well coached. I could see this one being close. I could see this being an upset. It's going to depend on Oklahoma's offense. And I'm not a big believer in Oklahoma's offense. I think they just lay an egg in at least this one or LSU. One of the two. I know they're both at home. I think Oklahoma's offense is going to lay an egg. Hopefully it's this one. Missouri gets it done.
Yeah, Missouri's got to get a signature win this season. I mean, we went over the stat. They're ranked despite not beating a team, an FBS team that's over 500. You watch these games and you get really frustrated watching Mizzou because these games are there to be had, and their quarterbacks are holding them back, and they're making frustrating decisions, and they're holding on to the ball. They're making the wrong reads. Ahmad Hardy's a great back. It's going to be hard having that running game going against a top-level defense like Oklahoma. We've mentioned Ahmad Hardy before, and when he goes up against good SEC defense, it's not that he lays an egg, but he doesn't do the same kind of work that he's been getting fat off of. This is a noon start, right? Or
yep. Well, let's see. That's a good question.
If it's a noon start, that's a really tough spot in terms of a letdown game. That's tailor-made.
Yep, noon.
Noon start, at 11 a.m. Central Time, off of a huge week of rat poison and people gassing you up and you feeling like you've got the college football playoff locked up. I wouldn't put it past Oklahoma to not only lose this game, but to also lose to LSU the following week because their new quarterback might have given them some juice. As someone that has bet Missouri a lot this season, though, I have trouble believing they can win this one straight up and get over the hump. But I got it at 9.5, and I think that's too many points. The final game on my card, I'm going with Pittsburgh. The line tells you everything that Vegas expects out of this game. I think Georgia Tech is getting worse as the season progresses. Their defense teams have seemed to really key on, no pun intended. Look, Pat Narduzzi told you himself he was more focused on the Georgia Tech game than he was the Notre Dame game. I think they'll be ready to play this game. They weren't really ready to play against Notre Dame. Pittsburgh's life is on the line here. I think they're going to meet the moment. And I just don't like Georgia Tech as a favorite. They are a all-time dog team with that head coach. But when they are expected to win, they seem to have difficulty wearing that. This is a Georgia Tech team. I know they have one loss. I don't agree with them necessarily being below Miami, but their best win is Clemson.
Yeah.
They just had 48 points put up on them by a team that didn't cross the 50-yard line until like 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter against Miami.
Yeah.
I think this is all going to catch up to Georgia Tech, and I wouldn't be surprised if they find themselves a big dog to Georgia and they're right back in their comfort zone. But if Georgia Tech does win this game, they're going to Charlotte. They're going to be in the CFP, and Haynes King better be in New York for the Heisman ceremony, in my opinion.
Left purse says Pribula's supposed to start per St. Louis Post-Dispatch. So That helps, I think.
I don't think so. I'm not a fan of his. I thought he was.
The Post-Dispatch don't miss. I'll tell you that.
He was disastrous against Alabama. That's not. I don't rate that Alabama pass defense really. I thought he was terrible. So we'll see.
Who do you want to win this game, Pittsburgh or Georgia Tech? Because to me,
Pittsburgh.
Really? Because like if Georgia Tech wins, Pittsburgh's going to go into that game against Miami like half dead, and we could blow them out.
I call me a fool.
Yeah,
but I still am holding out hope that Charlotte is in play for this team. The things that Miami need to happen to get to the ACC championship game aren't that crazy anymore. They've had certain things break their way. Yeah, 4 weeks ago, it looked like it was dead in the water because you needed so many things to happen. But I was looking at it, I'm like, this conference is, got a lot of parity. I could see teams that are expected to win crumble under that pressure. And now you're to the point where you don't actually need that many unbelievable things to go your way. Now, there's a reason why I did this with intent. You bet this in a parlay. It's keep hope alive for Charlotte. I haven't yet canceled my hotel.
It's like Angel in the outfield situation. I love it.
I haven't canceled my hotel in Charlotte just yet.
If you could see it, then you could be it. I'm with it. Let's go.
Yep. All right. Song of the week.
Wait, before we get to that, a lot of parties coming up. There's going to be some playoff selection parties for Miami Hurricane fans after Miami goes 2-0 in these next two games and gets picked to go to the college football playoffs. So if you're in charge of the food, East Las Canarias Cuban Express Catering. We always talk about the spot in the Dayland Mall Dining Pavilion, the center of the culinary universe here in the New World. But when it comes to catering, this makes it real easy for you. You got parties coming up, Thanksgiving, Christmas, any kind of holiday that you're celebrating or just a family gathering, friend gathering. You want to show up ready to rock. So go to East Las Canarias Cuban Express and look at these catering options that you got, whether it's just the pastries, whether it's croquetas, the yuca bites, the empanadas, a mix of all these different things, a little bit of everything. Whatever you need, you can get at East Las Canarias Cuban Express to make sure you are the star of your party, taking care of everybody with one quick purchase, easy to carry, easy to get, instead of having to make a million things. Look at all these options, man. I'm going to be scrolling all night with all these options you have for catering, so you can mix and match to make it exactly what you need. East Las Canarias Cuban Express, the best Cuban restaurant on the planet. Let's get a song of the week, because you picked I thought I was the Waylon Jennings guy, and you picked a nice Waylon Jennings song that I enjoyed quite a bit for your song of the week. So what made you go to the man from Texas for the song of the week?
I am reading a book about how Garth Brooks might be a serial killer. And there's a quote in there from Waylon Jennings.
I don't know if it's fit to print. I know exactly what you're talking about. Let's see how you phrase it.
Garth Brooks did for country music what pantyhose did for finger banging.
Well done. The real quote, I think, had the F word, right?
It did.
You slid it in.
It did. But I heard that quote in the book. I'm like, I got to give a shout out to Waylon Jennings, because it gives me an excuse to talk about this book called Bodies in Low Places, which matter-of-factly tries to convince you, the reader, not fiction, that Garth Brooks, international country music superstar and icon, has killed scores of people. Now, that's what the book is arguing. But Garth Brooks really hasn't addressed this. Now, if you want something to go away, you don't address it. But he's just being quiet to the point. Like, this all started with Tom Segura's podcast. He has this property that people need to search. Someone needs to. Pete, did you know this?
Pete, I don't know. I don't know who these people are.
Waylon Jennings can read a book.
I thought,
my friend.
Honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you. I thought we were gonna talk about Wayman Steed for a second when you gave me the name.
Waylon Jennings.
Yeah. Waylon Jennings had a bad feeling about Garth Brooks from the jump, and I love this song, and I love the title. I ain't living long like this. Your classic outlaw countryman. Country music man. D-Money has sung the virtues of Waylon Jennings, but it gave me an excuse to alert you that there is a book right now on Audible. This isn't like some blacklisted book. This is not banned. People are talking about this openly, and Garth Brooks has decided to not sue anyone yet because he doesn't want to go to Discovery. Now, I'm not saying I believe it. The book is actually kind of poorly written, and it's not like it's written by the most credible people. Because
it's not like a comedy. It's not like an ironic deal.
It's written by two guys that were felons. One of them is now out of jail. The other one is still in jail, and this is what they do. They research crime as they're trying to to appeal and get themselves out of jail. This was a thing that started on Tom Segura's podcast with his wife. They were watching videos. I'm like, man, this Garth Brooks guy is kind of weird. How many people do you think this guy killed? And then they were alerted to the increasingly shocking data of disappearances in cities that Garth Brooks tours in, and the proximity of these bodies that in some cases were found, in some cases never found, from Garth Brooks tour stops, dating back to Garth Brooks' time at Oklahoma State University, Peter Ariz.
Go Pokes.
It is something that'll make you think. Now, I'm not there yet, but you start thinking about the Chris Gaines thing. You start thinking about that.
That was a little strange.
That weird time where Garth Brooks at north of 40 thought he could make the San Diego Padres and then try to make the New York Mets.
It's like a white guy masterpiece situation.
Yes. There were disappearances around Mets training camp in Port St. Lucie. People that disappeared from truck stops that Garth Brooks' tour bus was at. Look, I know it's crazy. A person told me this on Sunday. I wasn't aware that this was a thing. And I'm like, you're an idiot. You're a moron. And he's like, I'm not telling you what to think. I'm just asking you if you'd like to listen to this podcast. It's about a 90-minute podcast. And I saw the book was about 3 hours. I'm like, I stopped midway. I'm going to get to this book. I want to hear just about the Chris Gaines persona thing. I'm halfway through this book. He needs to come out and say something because this is a little nuts. All right, Waylon Jennings, my song of the week.
It's kind of like the Wayne Brady. You know, you think all these other guys are the outlaws, and then meanwhile, Garth Brooks has got bodies everywhere.
Friends in low places, bodies in low places. Everybody, it's quite compelling.
Oh man, I love it. All right, that is awesome. All right, so my song of the week this week is really a country classic. The version I chose is more a gospel-y take. It has different names depending on who sings it, but let's call this one Can the Circle, or Will the Circle in this case, Be Unbroken by the Staple Singers. The Staple Singers.
I love Mavis.
They're some of the best around gospel, soul, R&B, pop. I mean, they are elite American artists. So this song, though, I wanted to focus not necessarily on just the Staple Singers version, but the original. And I wanted to talk about a group that I'm surprised there isn't a movie made about them already, because their importance to American music and to country music. And to tie it all together, they are from Southwest Virginia. They're from the country part of Virginia, and they are really the most important country group ever, I would say. And that is the Carter family right there. You see my man AP in the middle. He was sort of the impresario. He sang a little bit, helped with the compositions, but he was not really part of the band. The band was really our girl right here, Maybelle Carter, one of the most innovative guitar players of all time, inventor of the Carter Scratch, which is like playing rhythm and lead at the same time. Guitars at this time were not common in the hills of Appalachia and in these rural parts of America. So she had one of the first guitars in that area, and she had a very unique style, very strong hands on this lady.
Look at that bone structure, hands. Like a hockey enforcer.
Yeah, she's all business, man. And then Sarah Carter to the right, as you see with the, it's called what's this called? Some kind of harp, auto harp, I believe. So she plays this thing and sings. At this time, there was a lot of choral singing, so not a lot of like guitars and string instruments with the singing in these country songs.
These people look terrifying.
They are legends. So AP would go travel the countryside. He had a friend. And
look at these people, D-Money. You wake up and that's sitting across from you in your hotel room. You're like, I'm dead.
What are you talking? Why?
These people are horrifying.
They're the common clay.
They are so scary looking.
So my guy AP would travel the countryside with Leslie Esley Riddle, who was his friend, a black dude. This is way back in the day. And they would go see people playing songs on the side of their houses, on the side of these mountains. And Leslie Esley, he would remember the songs, and then they'd go and then
Leslie Esley?
That's his nickname. His name's Leslie, nickname Esley Riddle, I believe is the last name. So they would go, he would remember the songs. He'd go back home and then work with AP to transcribe them. When they finally got recorded, they were the biggest thing in the country. They made country music huge because people had never heard these songs recorded. This is like 1920s when.
So they set the table for Garth Brooks to take over country
for everything.
Music
if they never did this, those people would still be alive.
That's right.
They would all still be alive. But this stuff actually holds up. These old recordings. It's not like Jack White type songs. I mean, you'd get a kick out of it. But these are all. I mean, some classics. Wildwood Flower. I mean, they got great songs. But Will the circle be unbroken? Can the circle be unbroken? It's really a song about a funeral and death, but it has a very happy tone. You may remember it from just a lot of times like Grand Ole Opry. They'll sing it in big crowds, but it is one of the best songs of the this era of music, American standard, covered by many, including the staple singers, and just a very optimistic sound, which we're trying to strike an optimistic tone here with the Canes Inside podcast, because we're going to go 1-0 in the hills of Virginia.
So they speak to a source that was a roadie for Garth Brooks, and it's a known thing that Garth Brooks would get to the venue and he would ask people that work on the tour, "Hey, let me borrow your car." And he would just leave and take a straight, and it's Garth Brooks. You're not going to tell him no. And he would come back like right before the show starts, and nobody would know where because he would do this before the time of cell phones, and nobody would know where he is. And he would just notoriously just borrow people's cars. He's a multimillionaire with private jets, which also plays into this whole thing. And he's like, "Hey, let me borrow your Honda Accord. I need to do something real quick." And somebody would go missing, and he would leave town.
Huh. And what time is it? 3:10. My afternoon is cooked because I'm going to be digging into this.
I'll send you the podcast, but you might as well read the book because the book is like just twice as long as this podcast. But
like you can't also know
the book is not written well, because a lot of these things, they take a lot of this evidence. Some of it's past circumstantial, but some of it is circumstantial. And they're like, what was in his car? Could it have been an autographed copy of Fences? We don't know. And they would move on. Who are we to say? You better be the person to say if you're levying these crazy accusations.
What are they going to do? Throw them in jail? They're already in jail. They're chilling. Vincent Jenko says, where can I find the playlist on Spotify? The pod's the only thing that comes up. It should be on Spotify. I mean, I can send it to you. I'll post it on I'll post it on Twitter. I'll post the Spotify, and I'll post the iTunes or Apple Music playlist. Is iTunes still a thing? The Apple Music playlist. I'll post them both on Twitter after the show, so you guys can go find them and subscribe. We'll be adding these songs on every week. If you need to get your fill of 1950s gospel and murder mysteries involving country music superstars such as Garth Brooks. Look at this. Left perfect. Mike's saying that Garth Brooks is in the Epstein files.
No, I didn't say that. We all know who's in those.
Let's see here.
Yeah, Mikel Arteta. I've been telling you that for a long time.
That's right. Callum Hudson-Odoi, right?
Yeah, Callum Hudson-Odoi. I will never let Master live that one down. Arteta was in. He was on the logs. He was on the flight logs.
He would have been 12. If Callum Hudson-Odoi was on the island, it wasn't going to go his way.
I know what you're talking
He's
about.
He's very lost right now, yeah.
Joel Warren, appreciate you. Yes, let's go Canes. Let's go 1-0 in the hills of Virginia. Who knows what kind of bodies are buried out there? I don't know what the touring schedule is. We're going to go 1-0. Go Canes.
Go Canes.